Hi, welcome to Posca Club. Today we're going to draw a nice, quick and easy monster based on the artwork of one of my favourite artists called Elise Gravel. So yeah, just a few colours that we're going to need today and one black pen. So whatever colours you go for, just have one dark version and one light version of the same colour. I'm going for green and light green, mainly because on the other side of this sketchbook there is another green and light green monster. So I think it would look nice as an open page. But you go for whatever you want for a monster colour. And like I say, really, really simple. So just one single colour today. Also going to go with the grey as well. This is the lighter of the greys that Posca do, I think. So just go for a grey pen. This is going to be to add a little bit of detail into the teeth, the eyeballs, and a drop shadow as well. Now these features don't exist in Elise Gravel's work around the eyes and the teeth. Her work is a lot more simpler than that, but because we're drawing a little bit bigger, it gives us the opportunity to add a little bit more depth to our character as well. And then a 5M in black as well, just to finish off. That's what you're going to need, just 4 pens for today's session. Of course, as usual, I like to go straight in with pens, so let's go and take those 2 colours that you're using for the main colour of our character today. And what we're going to do is we're going to go in with a darker colour first. Okay, so park that light green over there. Go and grab that green and let's get going, shall we? We're going to throw on a few little guidelines. One of the features of Elise's work as well is that none of the lines are particularly smooth, or a little bit wobbly, a little bit wonky, which I absolutely love. All the monsters are very naive, very easy to draw, but got bags of personality and character, and that's what we're going to try and get across today. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, let's draw a line that goes all the way across the middle of our page, again nice and wonky, and then when we get to this point we're going to drop it down, go all the way around and back to the front again, but just leaving a little bit of an underbite. So this bit's the mouth, right? You ready for this then? So starting around about here, let's go across and then let's drop it down all the way around, bring it back to about that point there. And you can see how wonky I've gone with this. Go as wonky as you want with it. It doesn't really matter too much. We're going to have a couple of ears at the top. We're going to have arms and legs hanging out down the bottom. Apart from that, you're free to use all that space as much as you want. Right, let's start at the top, work our way down with some of the features on this character. First thing it's going to have is a couple of ears. So let's go and put a couple of ears in. I'm the only reason I'm going that big with the ears is to fill the page. You could go a lot smaller, you could go a lot bigger, you can go fatter, whatever you want with your ears. But that's the only reason I'm going that big with those. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put in some features across this line here. We're going to put a tooth, an eye, and a tooth. So the teeth are going to stick out like this, look. That is one of the teeth, yeah. Then we're going to go and throw in a couple of eyes. The original artwork had one small eye, one big eye, so I'm going to stick with that because I kind of like that technique as well. There's my small eye. There's my big eye. And you can see I've done these quite wonky as well as shapes, so you can do them circular, you can do them whatever you want on yours. One last time then for a tooth. Let's go a little bit bigger with the tooth. Just there. And this is, again, is a great character if you want to tweak things, if you want to do something slightly different with the way you draw, change the shape of it, change the features in there, but just follow the same steps all the way through. Okay, let's go and throw in some arms and some legs. So we're going to put in an arm here and an arm over here. Just 2 little stringy bits hanging down. In the middle, let's put a couple of legs. You don't want to go too far down to the bottom of the page because we are going to have this drop shadow, which is going to come a little bit lower than the legs. So let's go and put the legs in. So let's go about there. Look. And again, with the same kind of stringy, kind of tubey shape coming down there. But we will give those legs, let's carry on with the legs, just give them a little bit more finesse. Let's put a foot on that. So go across there for a foot. Across there for a foot. Let's go a bit weird. Look, watch this. Little toes on either side. Put 2 or 3 in, it's totally up to you. I'm just putting 2 in, keeping it nice and simple. On the tips of the hands, let's go and do a triple bounce for some fingers. So like this, look, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And this is typical of Elise Gravel's style. Really simple, really naive, but just really well executed as well. Okay, that's the outline of our character. That's perfect. Let's go and put in the shadow now. Now, again, with Gravel's style, this was all just one colour. And then there'd maybe be loads of other characters all over the place, all in just one bold colour. But like I said, we're going to add a little bit more detail to it. So we're going to add a little bit of a shadow to it to make it look a little bit rounder. So essentially, we're going to take this part just over here on this side of the ear. That's the really important bit. On this side of the ear, we're going to drop it all the way around. We're going to come to about this side of the arm over here. So you're watching this up. Just comes a little bit further away, just there, getting into the body. Like that. And that shadow can be anywhere. Wherever you place that shadow will change the shape of your character. So if you put it really low, it's going to look like the belly's sticking out quite a lot. If you bring that shadow right up top, it's just going to look like the top lip is sticking out, or the bottom lip is sticking out quite a lot. So yeah, open to interpretation, that bit is. Right, let's go and put some shadows in on this character. Now, the first thing we're going to do is colour in everything that is in this shaded area. So stick with that darker colour that you've got if you're using green like me. Stick with that green, and let's go and throw this colour on. Now, we've got a lot of colouring in to do, so just remember, nice and light with your colouring in. Don't press too hard. The gentler you press on your paper or on your cardboard, the more likely you are going to be having a more opaque finish to your artwork. It's going to look more printed. You're going to see less of the paper showing through. On saying that, you might still need to give it a double coat. So don't try and go back and colour things in straight away. Wait till it dries, then go back and colour it in. Now, in any other tutorial, I think they'd probably time-lapse this bit, but I actually quite like just keeping it running, knowing that you guys are colouring in at the same pace as me. You don't have to worry about pausing the video. You can just kind of get on with what you're doing, knowing that I colour in I think I colour in at a medium pace. During the live sessions, I definitely see some people colouring in faster and some people slower. But you do you. Whatever you enjoy when it comes to colouring in, you do whatever you enjoy. If you like taking your time, then take your time. Don't ever feel like you need to rush. It's the great thing about art. It's not a race to see who finishes first. It's not even a race to see or a competition to see who finishes best. It's just learn to enjoy the process. And for me, part of that process is knowing that this stage of any drawing that you do is always going to look a little bit rubbish. It's never going to look great at this stage. It's always going to look like might have potential, it might backfire. And that's what I like about drawing, is that jeopardy of not knowing whether it's going to turn out any good or not. But knowing that we've got a lot more steps to go through in order to get to that place where we can decide, actually, that's turned out all right. So it's about having that confidence in your ability, having that confidence in the process, that it will all be okay. There we go, that's pretty nice. Big, strong, dark shadow all on this side. If you wanted to take this next level, what you could do is just be adding little subtle shadows on here as well. Maybe leaving a bit of the light over here as well. And the same with over here, maybe doing light on one side, dark on the other side, with all of these little bits that are sticking out, if you wanted to. Okay, we're going to go and put in some shadows around the eyes, teeth, and a little drop shadow to make it look like our character's standing on the ground. I'm going to zoom in for this bit. Not just there, let's zoom in to just there. There we go. So get your grey warmed up, ready to go, and what we're going to do is we're just going to put in little subtle shadows around the side of the teeth. Now what's important here is that your shadow, as you go to the top of the tooth, is going to go outside of this green line. And then when we put that green line, or when we put the black line back in, what it's going to do is it's going to sharpen off the top of this shadow. So when we draw this shadow, it's going to have a fat top end. Just be reassured that when we put the colour and the black outline on this later, that the top of this shadow will just kind of taper out into nothing. So I think just about here, look, I think that's where that shadow is going to live. And then maybe just curve it around a little bit more across the top there. And the same with the eyes, look, starting on that green line, finishing on that green line, all looking a little bit messy around that side, but knowing that when we colour in afterwards, we are going to taper out a lot of this. One more time on the tooth then. I've gone quite big with that shadow, didn't mean to go quite that big. So yeah, do whatever you want to do with those shadows. Essentially, the shape you put the shadow in, whether you put a big shadow or a small shadow, it's just going to change the shape of the tooth. It's not going to be right or wrong. It's just going to change the shape of the tooth. Okay, so you wanted to get those in around the teeth and the eyes first. Let's go downstairs and let's put a little drop shadow around the base of our character. All we're going to do is go from this side, look, all the way around like that, and then colour in all of that. We can go around those toes. Don't worry too much about getting the edges just right in here, because we're putting a black outline on. A lot of this, where two colours touch each other, where two different colours touch each other, going to be hidden behind a black line, so you won't really see all of that mess. On saying that, it's important to know that where the light green and the green touch each other, so like you just see this little bit of the belly, that's going to be light green eventually. Where those two colours touch each other, there's not going to be any black line there to hide that, because that is all the same object. It's just two different colours on the same object. Whereas what we're doing down here is two completely different objects. The shadow and the feet are two different objects, so there will be a black outline around these. So it's just knowing where you need to focus on proper outlines, proper joins, and where you don't. There we go, we're looking good. Let's go and put our third colour and final colour. So the second colour for the body. Essentially everything in there is going to be coloured in with this light green. What I would like us to do as well is, you see these green lines, we've got single lines that we've got coming up over this side. As much as possible, try and get rid of those. So just go over the top, look. Doesn't matter if you don't get it all, or if it's not a particularly clean job. But essentially you want those green lines to disappear underneath these lighter lines, even if you have to make certain bits a little bit bigger. It's not the end of the world if you do see a little bit of that green showing through, because it will just look like there's a bit of a shadow around there, around the border of the character, which actually could look quite nice. Okay, let's carry on with this colouring in. I'm going to go around the teeth now. Watch this as I go around the teeth, yeah? Going around that green. This is where we go over that shadow, down the other side, look. Colour in a little bit around that so you can see what's happening. Might be a bit difficult to see, but you can definitely see, like, compare that tooth to that tooth. You see that I've got rid of that green line completely. And then hopefully you can just about see that this bit, this shadow at the top, is just tapered out into nothing really nicely. So we're losing that fat 5M end to the pen line. Let's do the same on this eye. Look, we've got these fat 5M ends just there. So go over that green line, taper out the grey. Nice and gentle as you go over this. Because we're going over another colour, you want to be really gentle. You're more likely to leave a thick coat of paint over it. You're less likely to stir up the pigment of the paint underneath. if you give it a nice light touch. There we go. So yeah, outline it all, colour it all in. Again at the top here, watch how we just go over that green line, then we bring it onto this bit. So we get that nice tapered point at the top here. Look. So we go up there. And follow that shadow line down. Look at that beautiful, sharp, tapered line. That's what we're after. One of the main techniques for really getting the most out of Posca pens is the ability to be able to cut in. And that's what we've just done there. That was cutting in. Now try not to do what I just did, which was prime your pen on your canvas. Every now and then it does have a tendency just to leak loads of paint on your canvas or on your sketchbook. So yeah, try not to do that. Try to be disciplined enough to steer over to that scrap sheet of card that you've got next to you, just to prod your pen down on there. Now we can get rid of this line, it doesn't really matter. We are going to go over, this mouth is going to go in black, and it's also going to be made open, so it doesn't really matter too much what we do with that line for the mouth. The important bit is just to really focus on these teeth. And don't forget there's going to be a black outline around the teeth, around the eyes as well, so it's not the end of the world if you've not got a smooth finish just there. Okay, awesome. Let's zoom out just a touch, get the rest of this body done. I'm going to outline this area. Outline it all first, colour it all in. Now what might happen to you is that after colouring in for a bit, you might accidentally find yourself pressing a little bit harder or gripping your pen a little bit too tight. Just try to always remember to keep checking in on yourself. Checking that you're not pressing hard, checking that you're not holding your pen too hard. What I hear from a lot of students is that it's quite difficult not to do that. But to try and get lost in your drawing and yeah, try to have a little bit of discipline with that as much as possible. Especially the not pressing too hard on the paper. Okay, we're nearly done. Just working our way across this last little bit. Now, of course, at this stage, you could change the shape of our character if you wanted to bring the highlight down a little bit. If you decided that actually I'm not really that happy with this belly being up like that, let's zoom out. You know, you could bring that down. You could decide, well, I'm going to go down here instead with it. I'm just going to bring it down a little bit. Colour over it. Just remember, when you're colouring over a darker colour, that's when you need to be at your gentlest. You may even need to give it a double coat. But something like that will do. That's nice. We don't need to fuss about it too much. Okay. Okay, let's throw on some outlines. Plan is with the outlines, I'm going to use a 5M, black 5M, quite a fat pen for some fat lines. Throw them on really thick and fat, knowing that we can come back with these these two greens to kind of add a bit of shape, add a bit of finesse, add a bit of finesse to our lines. Right, you ready then? So let's go and do those eyes first. I'm going to start with those eyes, work my way down, then probably go around the back of the head as well. Okay. It was like starting with like the main features. Make sure I get those kind of looking half decent. So here we go. Let's go and do it now with the eyes. Just remember to go around the shadow as well. I'm going to obviously just give everything a double lining still. Like that. That's good. Let's go around the teeth as well. Now, the important thing to remember is when we come down here, when we do around the teeth, if we go a little bit too far into the body, it doesn't matter. We can cut that out a little bit later. Let's go around there, look, around that shadow. Lovely. Same kind of thing on the other side. Double lining it. Just giving it a slight wonk. Again, we're not looking for that finesse yet. We're just still in that making a bit of a mess stage. We can do some more interesting stuff with it in a bit. Okay, let's go and do this mouth now. What I love about this mouth is the way we're just going to open it up at the back here. So the first bit we'll do is we'll start on the lip here. We'll go all the way across. We'll hit the bottom of that tooth. We'll hit the bottom of that tooth. But when we get over here, let's just curl it round and go back again. So like this, let go from there. So you're trying to hit the bottom of the teeth. Don't worry about this little bit, this knocking out just here. We can tidy that up later. And then we're going to curl it round. Watch this. Let's curl it round. Like that. Now it's important when you curl that round and bring that back that this line that goes through here goes underneath that other eye. Let's colour that bit in. You can also just go over this bit. Let's just make the bottom of that mouth a little bit bigger just there, using it as an opportunity to pick up that little bit that was sticking out as well. You can see I've got a few little streaky bits as well in my line work there. If you get streaky bits, just wait for it to dry, go back to it, fix it when it's time to fix it. Whilst we're waiting for that to dry, let's go and put some wrinkles in the head. Again, look, fat lines, don't worry about it being fat lines at the moment because we can come back, add a little bit of finesse with those lines. Around the back of the mouth, let's just put a little crease around the back of the mouth. Now, the important thing with this crease is that you want the entirety of the line either to be all in the light green or all in the dark green. You don't really want it crossing over because that'll make it a bit more of a challenge when it comes to cutting in. So if we do the line just there, that means we can use this green to do the cutting in at the top and the bottom without any trouble. If that line finished over here somewhere, it'll be a much more difficult task getting that to look right. Okay, a couple of nostrils, a couple of pupils. And what I might do is I might just stick a couple of little lines out. Look, watch this. This is not on the original Elise gravel picture, but just stick a few little lines out there. It's going to help us give this character some more like angry eyes. Awesome stuff. Right, that looks fantastic. Let's go around the rest of the head. Okay, this is the big line, so we're going to start there. We're going to go all the way around. Remember to go through the not to follow this line, but to go around the whole object. Okay. What you'll also need to do is go around this. I'll go behind this arm as well. This arm's we're going to bring it to the front. So what we'll actually do is just quickly do this armlet. So starting up there, little line down around those fingers, and then back up. Still double lining. Yeah, so we need to get that arm in. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just bring that line up so they're level. That's nice. We'll taper out the top of those lines later. Now we can go around the rest of it, remembering we're going around the outside edge. We're going to go behind this arm, through the legs, through that arm. Okay, so let's go for it. Remember, around the entirety of the object. Don't get caught up with going in that shadow line. Through this set of legs, through that arm. Back up to that top lip. Give it one more. In fact, what I'll do, that's such a long line that this bit at the top is probably starting to get semi-dry by now. So I would probably leave that a little bit longer, and we'll come back and double line that in a second. In the meantime, let's double line these ears. Now, when we double line these ears, look what we're going to do at the top of these ears. Just going to bring some lines down. Just flick that line. Always starting in the middle there. Just flick it around so we've got this like burnt end to the ear. Let's try and do the same kind of thing over on the other side. Again, starting at the top there, just flick that pen down. You can see I'm holding the pen quite upright for this bit. If you hold the pen upright, you're more likely to get a thinner tapered end to it. Okay, let's go and outline this character again. Now we're just focusing on getting it wonky now. You know, sometimes it'll just naturally go wonky just because your hand's a little bit wobbly. But I really like that. I think that is something we need to embrace, is that natural wonkiness of our hands. Right. Let's quickly go around the arms and the legs. We're almost done. There's not much left to do on this bit. Quick enough that we can give it a double line around the feet. Again, we're not worried too much about perfection here. All part of this like naive style of artwork is that it, you know, it almost looks like a professional child has done it. It's got that kind of look to it. There we go. That's pretty much our character finished. We are going to do, like I say, just add a few more little features to it to finish this bit off, and then we'll add a little bit of finesse, and then we're done. Okay, so the features are, let's go over the whole thing and add some little clumpy bits of fur in. So just go in there, throw in these bits of fur. Try not to, it's always really difficult not to put these in a pattern. So try as much as possible just to kind of do a dashed line and then just mix in some other bits. You're going to naturally get some bits that kind of gravitate towards each other. That's not such a big deal. We're going to do some over here as well. Beautiful. And then the last thing to do on this, just finish it off. Go and grab that light green again. We're just going to get in real close and taper off some of these lines. Now remember, nice wet pen. Nice wet pen, nice light touch. Something like that. Clean your pen, try and get it first time. Let's do it again. You see how we're getting those real thin not straddled, those thin tapered lines. Look at the top of the eyelet, how fat it is there. We just give it one stroke. We've got a lovely thin line happening there. Last little bit. I mean, so just on that, you could, if you wanted to, if you were inclined to do so, you could taper out every single one of those little things, those little bits of fur that you did Likewise, you could get to a point where you're like, I've done too many, it looks dodgy. You could just colour over one, get rid of it. So feel free to change those little bits. Where are we now? Yeah, so green, the dark on this side. The only two bits we need to finish off are the corner of the mouth there and the top of the arms. Just give them a nice finish. And you know what? I think I'm going to leave it there. That's nice, that is. A couple of little spots to fill in the gaps around the outside. Do some light green, dark green. Well, it's not light green. Well, it is light green. It's light green and green. Awesome. Just a reminder, this piece is by Elise Gravel. Definitely an artist you want to be checking out. Got a really nice style of drawing. But yeah, there you go. Hope you enjoyed that little green monster. I'll see you in the next video.